it's Glitchin. Today we were doing a Dark World deck list. How do I describe Dark World in a sentence? It just cycles through its entire deck by discarding everything. It can hand rip your opponent, can set up Link 4s like nothing. It's like no other deck in the game. Now this is merely a suggestion, as every Dark World build will be different by virtue of it just being Dark World, and it's the preference of the pilot, what they run. But I hope you take my suggestions to heart and learn a bit about Dark World from this deck list. Starting off, we have 3 Snow, Unlight of Dark World. When discarded, Snow allows you to add 1 Dark World from deck to hand. This can be a Dark World spell or a monster. And if it is discarded by an opponent's card effect, target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it. Most Dark Worlds have an effect when discarded, or when discarded by an opponent's card effect. The discarded by opponent's card effect doesn't come up very often, unless in some ways that we can make it. But Snows is not usually the effect you want to really get off, because specialing from your opponent's grave isn't that useful. Next we have 3 Genta, Gateman of Dark World. You can send it from hand to grave in order to add 1 of the field spell from deck to hand. The field spell is very useful, so I try to max out on copies of both the field spell and this. And if this card is banished from the graveyard, you can special summon it once per turn. This is also a very useful effect. We also run 1 Ceruli, Guru of Dark World. This is the forcing our opponent to discard our cards that I mentioned before. If it is discarded, special it to your opponent's field. If this card is special summoned, you force your opponent to draw 1 card, or not draw 1 card, discard 1 card. And since our opponent controls that monster, it is technically our opponent's monster effect, allowing us to proc our really good effects of our Dark Worlds, such as Silva, Warlord of Dark World. When discarded, allows you to special summon it from the grave. If it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, they have to pick 2 cards from their hand and put them on the bottom of the deck. That's crazy. That's why that's banned in Master Duel, but not in the TCG. So we summon Ceruli, force ourselves to discard Silva, and hand rip our opponent for 2. We also have Gold, Warlord of Dark World. Gold, like Silva, can special itself from the grave, and if it is discarded by an opponent's card effect, you can destroy 2 cards on the field. Next we have 3 Rainbow, Overking of Dark World. Rainbow, when discarded, allows you to add a 5 or higher Dark World, which is this, or not this, can't add itself. Very important, can't add itself. And the next one we will show. Also, you can return 1 Dark World from your field to your hand in order to special summon it. This is a special summoning condition, and not a effect, so it does not start a chain. You also have 2 Grapha. Grapha, when discarded, allows you to destroy 1 card on the field. Very useful. Like Rainbow, it also has a summoning condition, not effect, to return 1 Dark World you control to the hand in order to special summon it. We have Danger, Jackalope. I have to put the question marks in there. Gotta get the pronunciation right. Danger, Jackalope, like all the other dangers, allows you to reveal it in hand. Your opponent randomly discards 1 card from your hand. Then, if it is not Danger Jackalope, special it, draw a card. If it is, you can special summon any other danger from your deck to your field in defense position. Danger, Mothman. We run 2 of them. Like all the other dangers, reveal it in hand, randomly discard a card. If it is not Mothman, special draw a card. If it is, both players draw 1 card, discard 1 card. Discarding cards, very good for us. That's why we run 2. Danger, Bigfoot. This is like any other danger. Reveal it, discard a random card. If it is not Bigfoot, summon Bigfoot, draw a card. If it is, target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. Next we have 2 Danger, Nessie. Danger, Nessie. Like all the other dangers, reveal it, discard a random card. If it is not Nessie, special Nessie. If it is Nessie, you get to add any other danger from deck to hand. Next we have Danger, Thunderbird. Danger, Thunderbird allows you to reveal it in your hand. Like every other danger, discard a random card. If it isn't, special it, draw a card. If it is, you can target 1 set card on the field and destroy it. Next, for our little miscellaneous section, we have 2 Ken the Warrior Dragon and 2 Gen the Diamond Tiger. Each one, on normal summon, allows you to special the other one to your opponent's field. When Ken is specialed to your opponent's field, it forces your opponent, you, to draw 2, discard 1. This is very good. We like discarding, we like drawing. Again, when summoned to the opponent's field, forces the person controlling it, your opponent, to discard one card. Discarding their cards, very good. Less cards for them, better for us. Next we have Blackwing Zephyros the Elite, Blackwing in Dark Worlds. How strange. While in the graveyard, you can return one card from your field to your hand in order to special summon it and take 400 damage once per duel. Returning a card to your hand can allow you to reuse it, netting you extra advantage. So it's very good. And another free body on the field. Salamander Catalyzer allows you to reveal itself and another fiend in hand. Discard one of them, special summon the other. This is a free discard outlet and an extra body on field, making it very good. Next, we have Diabolica, the Draconic General. Diabolica, when another fiend is discarded, allows you to special summon it from your hand or graveyard. And if it is sent to graveyard by card effect, you can target one fiend monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Another body on field, very good, very good. But when it special summons itself, it is banished when it leaves the field. Doesn't really matter for us anyways. For the spell lineup, we have 3 The Gates of Darkworld. The Gates of Darkworld allows you to banish one fiend from your grave and discard one fiend from your hand in order to draw one card. Very useful. We like discarding, we like drawing. And banishing the Searcher of Genta allows you to special summon it. Very useful effect. Next we have 2 Dark Corridor. Dark Corridor adds you any Dark World monster from deck to hand. Then you must discard one card. We like adding cards. We like discarding cards. Very good. Dark World Archives is a continuous spell. When a fiend is discarded, you can discard an additional card in order to draw 2 cards. More discard outlets, more cycling, which is drawing cards. Also, you can discard one card in order to discard a fiend in order to give your Dark World monsters 100 attack points times its level. Now, note that you must control a Dark World in order to activate and resolve this effect. Or just to activate. I don't think you need it to resolve. But it's another free discard outlet, and it combos with its second effect of discarding an additional card to draw 2 cards. Next we have Dark World Archives. Dark World Archive is a continuous spell. You can discard one fiend from your hand in order to give all of your Dark Worlds 100 attack times that monster's level. This is another discard outlet, so it's very good, and it is searchable off of snow since it is a Dark World. It also has a second effect of when a fiend is discarded, you can discard an additional card in order to draw 2 cards. We like discarding, we like drawing. Dark World Accession is our fusion spell, and is a quick play. It allows you to fusion summon a Dark World monster, and if you summon a Dark World fusion monster, you can also discard Dark Worlds from your hand, or banish them from your grave. Also, if it is in your graveyard, you can discard one card in order to add it to your hand. So, if it's discarded, you can just add it back to your hand and discard a card that you actually wanted to discard. Next, we have a bit of a spicy pick, Dragged Down to the Grave. Dragged Down to the Grave allows you and your opponent to look at each other's hands and then discard one card from it. Then, both players draw one card. So, if you play this first, you can just look at your opponent's hand, you're like, ooh, hand traps. None of that. Also, it can be used to just draw cards, rip out more cards of your opponent's hand. It's good. Card Destruction. Card Destruction forces both players to discard their entire hand and then draw the same number of cards that they discarded. This is really good for us because we'll probably be snowballing into more and more cards in our hand and forcing our opponents to get rid of more cards in their hand. Next, we have 2 Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent, when your opponent activates a monster effect in your main phase, allows you to either draw 2 cards, take control of one of your opponent's monsters, or take a look at your opponent's hand and shuffle 1 card from it into the deck. So if they hand trap you, they're getting punished. Next, for the extra deck. Extra deck for Dark World, it's kind of just mostly generic. So you might notice some of these are not in the same sleeves as the others, because I'm lazy and I don't want to take some cards from my deck. Other decks re-sleeve them just for this video. Next we have Grapha, Dragon Overlord of Dark World. This is our Dark World fusion, as aforementioned. If your opponent activates an effect, you can instead change the effect to your opponent has to discard a card. Your opponent would be us. So this is basically a negate while also not being a negate technically, and forcing us to discard a card. Then, if it is sent to grave, you can special summon the original Grapha that is in your grave or banished, and then each player that has a hand must discard a card. Next, we have one Moguska, the Terribly Tired Tapir. He is EP Sleepy. In attack position, your opponent cannot target this for card effects. And in defense position, it switches everything else to defense position and negates their effects. This is a stalling option. So if you have just enough resources to put 2 level 4s on field, just slap this onto the field in defense and negate everything. Next we have Dugaris the Timeless. Dugaris the Timeless allows us to detach 2 materials from it to skip our draw step, to draw 2, discard 1 card. Special a monster from our graveyard, skip our next main phase, or double the attack of one of our monsters and skip our next battle phase. Now, the main phase skipping, very bad unless you can end the game on that turn, and you really, really need it. Usually we either want the draw 2, discard 1, or in some fringe cases, the double attack. Next we have Coach King Giant Trainer. Thrice per turn, you can detach a material from this card in order to draw a card, reveal it. If it is a monster, inflict 800 damage to your opponent. This can help us win in time, and just draws a bunch. Draws us 3 cards, it's nuts. Next we have Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger is a spell negate on our opponent's turn. It also has a weird attack redirection effect, but we don't really need that. So if you're building up a control board, slap this guy down, spell negate. Next we have a copy of Dingirsu, the Orchest of the Evening Star. Dingirsu on summon allows you to send a card from your opponent's field to graveyard. Very good for getting around destruction protection effects. Next we have one Akashic Magician. Akashic Magician on summon lets you return the monsters it points to back to their owner's hands. This can be good for FTKing by ripping our opponent's entire hand by just recycling the pieces to do that. Next we have an IP Masquerena. IP Masquerena allows you to link someone on your opponent's turn during their main phase. Very good. The card we want to go into is SP Little Knight. Yes, I have one. I pulled one. I feel very proud. I will brag about it at every opportunity. SP Little Knight. When your opponent activates a card effect, you can banish 1 monster you control and 1 monster on the field. Could be one you control, could be one your opponent controls. Also, if it is summoned using a extra deck monster as material, IP Masquerena, on your opponent's turn, you can banish 1 card from field or grave. Next we have Muckraker from the Underworld. Muckraker from the Underworld allows you to discard 1 card. This does not trigger the Dark World's effects because they need to be discarded by effect, not cost, and special summon a fiend from your graveyard. And you are locked into fiends for the rest of the turn. Now, this has a goofy interaction with the dangers, where you can just keep activating the dangers, and they won't special summon themselves. So it's like, summon it, discard something other than a danger. Oh, okay, do it again, like discard a whole bunch. It's very funny. Next we have Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. It is a link 4. It gains 800 attack for each monster used as material for it. And once per turn, you can reduce its attack, or once per chain, you can reduce its attack by 800 to negate a monster effect. If you're building up a combo board, very useful. Next we have one Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker is good at ending out games. It allows you to target 1 link monster used as material for it, and it gains attack equal to its link material. So, if we used a link 3, it would gain 3,000 attack. And you can banish 1 linked monster from your grave in order to destroy 1 card on your opponent's field. You cannot use the same attribute for this effect during that turn. So if we banished a wind, we couldn't banish another wind for this effect. But we could banish, say, a dark. So it's very useful for just blowing up your opponent's board and then just swinging for game. So are you just Skull Dread? A very goofy card. It gains effect based on how many cards are used as link material for it. If you use 2 material, when a monster is summoned to a zone this card points to, it gains 300 attack. If you used 3 material, you can once per turn special summon a card from your hand to a zone it points to. And if you use 4 material, you can draw 4 cards and then put 3 cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck. All of those effects are pretty good. especially the draw 4, because we can just draw 4, and we have so many cards in our hand, we're fine putting back 3. Alright, I can't really do a combo list for this deck, because this deck is so reliant on just like what you draw off of every effect, so I'm gonna do a couple of test hands, or maybe just one. Look at the length of the video. If it's like 5 minutes, it's probably 1. If it's like 10, it might be still 1, but we'll see. Alright, shuffle it up. 1, 2, 4, 5. Reveal. Okay. This is a pretty alright hand. I will set the Tactics talent so we can activate it later. Set the Gates of Dark World. We just don't want our opponents to know what we're playing. Activate the Danger Mothman. Here you go, opponent. Look at my Mothman. We'll shuffle this up. We have no clue what is what. This one. Snow. Go to effect. Special the Mothman. Draw a card. Snow effect. Adds us any Dark World. We'll add a copy of Dark Corridor. Now here is where we do some shenanigans. We'll activate the Dark Corridor since we have Ceruli in hand. We can do a little troll-in. Add the Silva, discard the Ceruli. Ceruli effect, special it to our opponent's field. Let's say over here is our opponent's field. Since our opponent's field is off camera at this point, we discard our Silva, special our Silva. Silva effect also forces our opponent to put 2 cards from their hand onto the bottom of the deck. Aha, you fool, you've fallen right into my trap. Next we'll activate our field spell. We'll banish Snow from grave, we don't need it. We need Snow anyway. And discard gold in order to draw 1 card. Salamander Catalyzer. Okay, we can special the gold. This isn't a great thing. Oh, they already activated the Ceruli. Shouldn't have done that, even though it's a mandatory effect. So you'll activate the talents. We could hand rip them for 1, but since we're kinda stuck here, I think I'll draw 2. Another talent and a Nessie. Okay, that's not ideal, but we'll Nessie. Aha! Getting some good discards today. Okay, no Nessie. Draw a card. Dark Corridor. That's a once per turn. This is bad. So, could do the safe option and make an Appaloosa, or we could live dangerously and make a Saryuja Skuldred, which is very funny. So that's what I'll do. Draw 4, put back 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. This infinitely better. These can't really use. What would we have? Normal, so that's good. Put back these 3. Normal. You can effect. Cover our opponent again. Where's Gen? Again, they're forced to discard 1 card, so they're down to 2 cards in their hand now. Then should have left a Fiend in hand. That was a goof. That was a bit of a goof. We'll roll the dice. We'll play Jackalope. Hope they don't hit Jackalope. Okay. Draw. Grapha. Not great. Not great. Not great. Any graveyard effects? Ooh. Okay, so this isn't. We already hand ripped them for 2, so that's already good enough. But we will make IP. Then our opponent's turn. We can IP into SP. Disrupt them even more. Aha. You fool. That was That wasn't a full hand rip, but we already hand ripped them for 3. So I would consider hand rip for 3 plus an SP on the field a success. Let's run it again. Alright then, let's draw our last pathetic cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the start I want, but probably fine. Salamander Catalyzer, we can discard Snow, special out. Snow effect has what? Genta? Yeah, Genta. Should we add the Genta or should we add the Dark Corridor? No, Dark Corridor could do us a little work if we hard draw it later. We'll add the Genta. Genta effect, discard itself. Or to add the Gates of Dark World, activate Gates of Dark World, banish the Genta, discard our gold, draw a card. I'll shuffle up real good. Give me something good. Pretty good. Genta special summons itself, gold special summons itself. Would you look at that? We have 2 level 4s on the field. That means it's time for Lucaris. Lucaris effect, we will skip our next draw step in order to draw 2, discard 1. Draw 2. What would be good here? What would be good? Accession could come in handy later. We don't need it. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Genta again. Add another copy of the field spell. Place our field spell at the field spell. It is a soft once per turn. So we can activate it again. So we will discard our Grapha. Banish our Genta. Genta's summon effect is once per turn, not the add. Draw a card. Rainbow. Good. Grapha, we can blow up 1 card on the field, but I would rather not. I'd rather return this to my hand in order to special the Grapha. Do have a discard outlet. We have Accession in our grave. Accession, we will discard. None of these really get us any further. So we'll discard the Rainbow in order to add this back to our hand. We can add a copy of Grapha. Well then, Dark World Accession, discarding Grapha and Silva in order to summon Overking, Overlord of Dark World. This will special itself. I'll return it to my hand for a copy of Grapha, or return it for a copy of Rainbow, and then return Rainbow for a copy of Grapha. Aha, a little bit more card advantage. Then with this specifically, I would probably just make a Hope Harbinger with these 2. So we have a Spell Negate and a basically Omni Negate. I would call this a success. And of course, if they talents us, we could draw 2 or look at their hand and shuffle 1. In this case, I'd probably shuffle 1 because we're doing okay on board presence. So I think that's about good. So if you want to see more, please leave a comment. I really appreciate it. I look at every comment, mostly because I don't have a lot. So it'd really be nice if you did. So thank you.